Hi all. In this video, we'll learn about file permissions and access modes in Unix. So file ownership is an important component of Unix that provides a secure method for storing files. So every file in the Unix, every file or directory in the Unix has the following attributes like owner permissions, group permissions, and other permissions. So what are these permissions? So each and every file has the permissions for each and every file has been categorized into three types, that is owner, groups, and others. So what does this mean? So the owner permissions in the sense the permissions determine what actions the owner of the file can perform on that file. Maybe like the file permissions would be reading the file, executing that file, updating, like modify or write permissions on that file. So when it comes to the owner, right? We'll define like what permissions the owner has on the that file. And coming to the group permissions, the group's permission determine what actions a user can do, who is a member of the group that a file belongs to, can perform on the file. So if you see in Linux, every file, right, will be having a owner and a group. So in a group, there can be multiple number of users assigned to that group. So this we can also specify permissions to a file at a group level. So we can give, like a define different permissions like writing the file, reading the file, executing the file to the group level. So for this, like we'll have group permissions. Then remaining other than owner and group, the all the users who are out of this owner and the group, right, will be the rest of the world will be the other permissions. So the permissions for other indicate what actions all other users can perform on the file. Yeah. So yeah, this is permissions. The permissions, like again are broken into groups of three. Each position in the group denotes a specific permission. So, it's again permissions. Told you, right. It will be again like read, write, execute. So the when you do LSF and LTR, you will see the output of, first permissions of that file. If you refer to the first column, the first letter indicate whether it is the file type, file attribute, first column, right? The You will see file type, and you will see something like this for each and every file. So RWX, XR, right? So this is like this, you will be seeing it. So this indicates that the first three digits, like two, this is the first digit which indicates the file type, and this is the second digit, third digit, fourth digits are the file permissions for the owner. And then like the fifth, sixth, seventh are the file permissions for group, and the remaining three, right, 8, 9, 10 are the permissions for the others. So this permission, if you see RWX, R hyphen XR, right, this represents that the owner has read, write, execute permission, and the second group has like this five, fifth, sixth, seventh letters. Group has group has only read and execute permission, and whereas coming to the others, we have only here a root R actually. So that is the others here are having only read permission. So this is how we have permissions in Linux. So then next coming to the file access modes. So file like these are the same read, write, execute, but let's go into a bit deeper into this permissions. The permissions are of a file are the first line of defense in the security of a Unix system. The basic building blocks of Unix permissions are read, write, and execute permissions, which have been described below. So this plays a vital role in securing the file, in ensuring the file, like is accessed by access is secure. So we can define the like file permissions, or we can restrict the files for particular group, or only owner can modify it or update it or create do any changes or do that, or we can restrict to others also. So this is so we can even give limited permissions to the group or owner or others also. So which like using these three access modes: read, write, execute. So when you give the read permission, right, the grants it grants the capability to read, like it's like if you are familiar with a SQL language, right, this is just a select privilege. So we are only giving read permission, that is the user only can open the file and read the file, but he cannot modify or he cannot execute this file. So then next, coming to the write access mode, if it this access mode like grants the capability to modify or remove or update the content of the file. So when any user has this access mode privilege, so that user can he can write clean up the file, or like remove the file, modify the file, or he can do anything on this file updates. So next, coming to the execute access mode, the users whoever is having this execute privilege, they can run the file, this they can execute that file. Maybe like if you like there are different types of file, a shell script file, and like some executable files, some environment file. So these are all the files. So the user whoever is having execute permission, they can execute that script, or like a file. Yeah, if it is a .sh file, right, that is a shell script, so they can execute that shell script file. So yeah, those are the access mode. These are the access mode, file access modes. Yeah. Then next, coming to the uh, we have seen the file access modes, but now we can the permissions for the directory also, it would be the same directory access modes. Those are also like like a read, write, and execute. So it's same for directories as well, these three access modes. Now coming to the changing permission. So if you want to modify or update the permissions of the file, we use chmod command. So for every file, as we discussed earlier, we will be having a user and group, owner and a group owned by this file. So if you want to change the permission of the file, like to change the permissions like read, write, execute for owners, others, and groups, right? So what we need to use, we can do using chmod command, change mode permissions. And yeah, and like these we can this is a table where we see, right, operator and description. So we have three operators: one is plus, one is minus, and one equals to. So the plus symbol is like when we use this plus symbol with chmod operator command, it adds the permission to the file. And if you want to remove the permissions of a file, then you need to use minus with chmod command. And if you want to set some privileges to some designate, like some specific privileges to a certain like user level or group level, right, you can use equal to, equal to. So let's see here. So here actually the name, these are the octal values if you want to set a permission directly. So by default, read permission will be the octal value for read permission is 4. The octal value for execute permission is 1, and the octal value for write permission is 2. So if a user needs to have complete all the privileges, then the octal value for that is 7. So if you don't want to have any permission to the user or owner or group, then the command should be chmod 000, then the user file name. If you want the owner to have full privileges, then you can give chmod 700 and file name. So these are the file names. So if you give one as a permission octal value while with the chmod command, right, it will give only execute privilege. So if you give 2, it will give write privilege. So if you give 3, right, so 2 plus 1, if you see, right, write is 2, execute is 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3. So the user will be having execute and write permission. So if you give 4, it will be a read permission. So if you give 5, right, the execute and read permission, user will have execute and read permission. And then if you give 6, right, the user will be having read and write permissions. If you give 7, right, the user will be having read, write and execute permissions. So yeah, now we have seen only changing the file permissions using the chmod command. So command, the syntax for chmod is change mode is, yeah, let me explain it. Yeah, here, yeah. So if you want to change the permission of your own, right, so the file permission will be like this actually. So you will have owner, group and others. So here if your file permissions are like this, and then the file other attributes will be there. So here if you see, the first digit is represents the file type attribute. So these three permissions are the owner permissions. The second, third, fourth, like this denotes the owner permissions. And next coming to here, these are the next three are the group permissions. And next these three, right, these are the permissions for others other than owner and group permissions will be defined. So if you want to define certain permissions, like we have a file called test.x.txt. So you want to give full permissions to owner, and like only read for group, and uh, no permission for others. Then the command should be chmod 7, only read permission. We have given 7 all permissions to owner. So read, write, execute. So the numbers will be, you can see here, read permission is 4, and write is 2, 1 is 1, execute is 1. So 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 1 7. I have given 7. And again I have said only read permission for group. So the first three permissions we are given. So the next is for group we should have only read. So here the value is 4, octal value is 4 for read permission. So I am defining 4 for group, and I said no permissions for others. So if you don't want to give any permission to others, then the octal value is 0. And then the file name test.txt. So this is the command you need to execute to satisfy this permission conditions. So this is how we give. So when coming to the directory level, right, if you want to define permissions for a directory, you can use the same command, like chmod and then octal values and then directory name. And here we have one more option also. Suppose the directory, each and every directory will be having multiple files. So if you want to define permissions at the you want to change the permissions including directory and all the files within directory, then you have to use chmod -r 740 directory name. So this is how like this uh, file permission defining changing the file permissions at the uh, file level or directory level. So and actual using actual values. So now, so yeah. So let me go to the next topic. So now changing owners and groups. So each and every file will be having owner and group. So let me explain you again. So when you do LSF and LTR, it will return the file details using like this actually, -rwx r -x. This is the permissions. Then the value, and then user owner, and then group, and then the size of the file, and then created date or last updated date for that file, and then file name. So this is how you will get the output of LSF1, that file name. So here, when you see, right, this is the owner and this is group name it has. The owned by so and so, owner is owned, this file is owned by so and so user and so group. So if you want to change the owner of the file, so we have to use, suppose this example, let me tell you, take an example. We have a file called, we'll use the same name. So we have a file called test.txt file. So, and the date is maybe, like you can specify like November, like December 12th or something like that. So I'm giving an, like the date format will be, a date and month, date and seconds, minutes, hours. So I just gave as an example. So let me say this is 1024, and the group name is DBA. Let me put it here, and the owner I can, let me put as Oracle. So now this file is owned by Oracle user and DBA group. So I just want to change the owner of this file. So let me, what I'll do is ch own, then new owner of this file. So earlier it was owned by Oracle. Now I want to change this user as uh, test test user. Change the ownership. I want to change the ownership of this file to test user, and then the file name. This is the command to change the owner. So if you want to change the ownership along with the group, then ch own test colon. So now I'm going to change the ownership of the file with the owner as well as group. So you owner colon group name, new group name. So I'm giving o install, and then file name. So this is how you can change the permissions of a file or directory. In the same way, if you want to change the permissions of a directory and it's all the files within the directory, then what you need to do is just you append -r here with this thing, and like replace this file name with directory name. Same. So this is how you need to change the permissions for uh, ownership of the file or directory. So now we have another utility call, command line utility called chgrp, change group. So what it does is it will be changing the group of the file or directory. So the syntax is chgrp group name, o install group name, file name. So this is how you can change the file permissions, like ownership or group details. Yeah. I hope you understood clear.